welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of The Orange. This is a weekly news talk podcast where we bring you a little slice of life. It seems that lately the perception of gay and trans people in television and film has been changing. Just recently, writers and cast from the hit Emmy Award-winning series Orange is the New Black were raising money for local LGBTQ groups at a local bar. I have with me Jasmine Khan, a transgendered woman who is an LGBTQ advocate and internet personality from Vancouver. How's it going, Jasmine?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. So you're probably one of the most entertaining advocates I know in any facet of anything.
Assuming that an advocate can be entertaining in the first place. I mean, for God's sakes, we have to talk about being queer all day long. It's so tiring.
But you have a Bazinga shirt.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say?
It's like
I
that
mean,
effort you have to put in.
yeah, it's just like you got to be quirky. If you're not quirky, then nobody wants you.
So
No wonder I'm single.
let's learn a little bit about you before we get going. So just tell me a little bit about yourself. Whatever that
I am
entails.
an 18-year-old activist from Vancouver. I have been pretty much doing activism work in the LGBT community since I was 14 because I was kicked out just after my 14th birthday for pretty much being gay, trans, queer in general. And so ever since then, I've just kind of wanted to make sure that nobody ever goes through the same thing again. And after learning about how horrifying it is to be a trans person in the world, let alone in the city, I just thought we need to make a change and we need to help the youth, especially, feel safe in coming out in this world.
You were recently featured in a YouTube video on a popular channel, kind of describing some terms, trans terms, cisgender, etc. Could you describe to me, just for people who still aren't aware, what the definition of a transgendered person is?
A transgender person is someone who was born as, for instance, a male or a female. So whatever their designated sex is at birth, they grow up and their gender, which is what they identify as and express, does not match that. So in my case, I was born male. I grew up never feeling it, and so eventually I decided to transition using hormones and my fabulousness, and I became or transitioned into being a woman. So my true form, for as far as I'm concerned.
You get that question a lot, don't you?
Hell yeah.
I think I'm gonna share. You're quite the comedian. I remember we both attended an LGBTQ summer camp a couple of years ago, and you had some great stand-up comedy. Are you
I
pursuing
I,
that at all?
well, I'm hosting a music event later this week, and that is going to be predominantly me. It's like full on first person hosting. I will be doing comedy the entire night. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not really going into stand up for now, but I definitely will be putting a lot of comedy into whatever it is that I am hosting or making or doing. I just
Good.
know.
I'm glad to hear that. So, you're a TV person, you're a gamer. Do you watch Orange is the New Black at all?
Oh
Have
my
you?
God, yes.
Oh man, it's
Yes.
so good.
Yeah, it is. It is one of the better. Yeah, one of the better shows that Netflix has produced.
So, okay, then I feel like this is probably a worthwhile question to ask you. What do you think of the show's representation of gay women? I can't remember. Is the
Laverne Cox,
yeah? I don't know.
the transgender woman,
So
Sophia
is
is
she
her character.
transgender?
Yeah, Laverne Cox is the transgender salon stylist in Orange is the New Black, and it's just having her in that series. I believe it was the first season. They did an entire episode talking about her past and really showing what she's gone through, and that was just phenomenal. Seeing that just amazes me, and it really did open up to the mass public what it is like being a trans person. Not specifically, they didn't really cover all the hate and objectification you get, but they are covering in the second season and probably the third season too. What it's like, the reaction from her family. She has a child and a wife, or now ex-wife, and it's tough because family doesn't always agree with and accept what you have chosen in your life, even if you feel like it was the right choice from the beginning.
So you think they're doing they're giving it a good shot in terms of representing it correctly with this
Yeah, they're using a
transgender woman?
trans woman. They're doing like all the right things. Like some movies, some TV shows have just done horribly representing anything. And so it's like it's nice to see something that actually is so true and accurate coming from a trans person.
What did you think of Jared Leto in the Dallas Buyers Club?
I can't say much about that because I have not had the chance to really watch it. But I can say, for the most part, from reviews, trailers, small little snippets I've seen here and there, horrible choice. You could have chosen an actual woman. Um, I think that it's subjective to the audience, but a lot of the media is not deciding to choose trans people. There's some, I forgot what the movie is or TV show that is coming out right now, where there's a trans woman in the movie or show, and they casted a man for the role, claiming that it's because they want to see what a trans person looks like from the very beginning. To which I can say, I know so many actresses who have been transitioning less than 6 months and who want to get into get into acting. And there's so many people out there that you can choose. Like there's even there's a show that's being produced here in Vancouver called The Switch. It's a web show, and it revolves around a transgender woman, and they're actually using a local YouTuber and trans person to be the lead of that. Like it's not that hard to find a trans person.
I want to just going back to the first. We're gonna get to this really quickly, but just going back to what I first asked you, because I find when I have this discussion of the different terms
Mm-hmm.
that become very prominent in the LGBTQ community, one thing people have a lot of trouble understanding is, does a transgender person have to be someone who is medically going through the physical change, or can it just be anyone who was born identified as a male but believes that they or knows that they are a female?
Um, if you are that example, if you are born declared male and you know that you're female, you are transgender. Um, Being transgender by definition is technically a clinical term, but it is just somebody who has that, who knows that they have that disconnection, that disassociation, that dysphoria. And dysphoria being the feeling you get of shame and hatred and knowing that you are in the wrong body, which any trans person goes through on a daily basis. If you are to say become transsexual, that would mean you would probably have had to have the actual sex change operation because you're going from one sex to another. But transgender, trans means to go from one place to another. Gender is what you identify as. So, so long as you know that you are presenting yourself in a different gender, going from one gender to another, you are transgender. If you choose not to transition, I guess that you would just be in the closet and you wouldn't really be able to identify yourself. But for the most part, anybody who's dealing with that would be trans or transgender.
All right, thank you. So back on topic, I have a question because well, I guess if I didn't have questions, I wouldn't be interviewing you. Um, but I find when it comes to Hollywood as a whole, there's this argument that comes into play as to whether, for example, a man being like Jared Leto being cast to play a transgendered woman, um, is that an issue? I find people on the opposite side of the debate where I have some friends saying, well, no, why not get a transgendered woman to play the role of a transgender woman? But I also have friends who would say it's acting, it's theater. Why can't someone? The art of theater is portraying something you are not. So my question to you is, because you seemed a little concerned about that, is the concern that a man is playing the role of a transgender woman, or is the concern that transgender people are not getting the opportunity to act in those roles and those capacities as much?
It really is a mixture of both. I couldn't say specifically one or the other because, far as I'm concerned, it is both. Firstly, we don't have trans people being represented in the proper roles. So it just doesn't make any sense. Like, the example that I would give is uh, in the movie Bridesmaids. You know, how would you feel if instead of Kristen Wiig and all the other main characters that are women, how about we all just make the men that are in dresses? Like, it wouldn't make any sense. It would be completely wrong, and everybody get really upset about it. It's almost like, if we had a Ghostbusters that was all women. Oh wait, that is happening. Like people would get mad, and it's just upsetting because nobody validates trans people getting upset about these roles that are literally made about them not being given to people who deal with the exact same thing. You know, 1 in 10 people has some type of, or is gay. One in, I think it's like 12 people is trans. Like, we're not a complete minority. We have visibility. We are here. So it just makes no sense why, especially in Hollywood, they would be, not going out and actually trying to make that extra little effort, or even putting up a sign that says, we're looking for trans women. They just are looking for men who have long hair and dreamy eyes.
Where do you think this? Because I mean, this isn't the first time that television and film is beginning to focus on trans people. I think uh, Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Mm-hmm.
for an example, has a very strong theme, whether underlying or not, of trans characters and gay characters. From what I recall, now I want to.
If I'm correct, I have not seen it, but it is something sweet, something transvestite.
Yeah,
Okay.
Transylvania, but it's a play on words.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so in that sense, transvestite is a offensive word. It is an offensive word for a cross
that's
dresser,
offensive.
and for the most part, transvestite is used by rude people to describe transgender people, because a cross dresser is not somebody who deals with gender dysphoria or any type of mental condition involving their gender.
Out
And
of
yeah,
curiosity, out of
go
curiosity, and I'm sorry, I can't remember if the term, if they said transvestite
on.
in that film or not. But at the time, because the movie was made what, some 20 years ago,
Mhm.
30 years ago. Was it did the word have the same connotation now that it had then?
Yeah, because just like 20 or 30 years ago, the word hermaphrodite was okay to use. When in reality, well, now it's been used as a slur so much that they had to come up with the right word for it. And now
Hmm.
instead of saying hermaphrodite, you refer to somebody who has both or none, genitalia wise, as intersex. Same with people who are transvestites. They are cross dressers, because transvestite for the most part just means men dressing up as women and not, acknowledging that there are women that dress up as men.
Where has this sort of where do you think that this kind of growing trend in transgendered characters come from? Like, why is it becoming so much more prominent now? And in
Um,
media in general, I guess.
I guess that they have never been really a minority. They've always been kind of there. They just haven't been given any attention. If you look at any comedic movie, there's always some type of reference. There's usually, I don't think I've seen an Adam Sandler movie that hasn't had a reference to a trans person or crossdresser or something along the lines of that. I think that now it's just, I don't want to say it rudely, but we fought for blacks. We fought for women's rights. We are fighting for gay rights. And it seems like the trans community is trying to make that push to go in there with the gay rights, because we don't want to wait. We want to be included. We want to have rights. And so to push ourselves, to go and break all these barriers that have been put upon us just is amazing. And I think that's why you see so much more influence in trans people in the media, is because we really are just trying to show that we are here. We are not hiding. We are not a phase or a trend or something. This is who we truly are. And we need to be represented properly. We can't just have a man walking up on the stage in a dress for laughs, because that is not what we are. Our gender identity should not be laughed at or shamed.
I agree. I'm gonna leave you with one final question. What do you think, from your point of view, where do you think that this trend of transgender characters in film and TV is going? Do you think that eventually Hollywood will start casting more transgender actors? Do you think that unfortunately, do you think that the interest might peak and they might start using less transgender characters in film and television? Where do you see it going?
I don't see it going anywhere but up. Um, at this point, it's just like looking at women in acting. I mean, the top 10 highest paid um, entertainers of all time, men. And you're just seeing women rising the charts. Beyonce, Angelina Jolie, all these celebrities that are female. Now we're having these trans women with people like Laverne Cox and Carmen Carrera, even the YouTubers Gigi Gorgeous, Princess Jules. These people are trans women or trans guys. They're out there too, Chaz Bono. You have Bono, I think that was the last name.
Yeah,
Um,
Bono.
you have these people that are out there and representing us. And with agencies like the Trevor Project and GLAAD in the US, you have that representation. And, you know, as far as I can see, I see all these young trans people aspiring to be who they really want to be, getting the opportunity to be who they want to be, and growing up and doing what they want. And if that is, being an actress or a singer or a dancer, they have the chance to do that now. There really aren't any barriers anymore. The harder we, fight, the less barriers there's going to be. And I'm just proud to say that I'm growing up in the generation that gets to fight for them.
I think confidence is a big step forward, and will really help push people forward. And I'm glad there's people like you, who have the confidence to. I mean, listen, there's nothing to, there's no reason to not have confidence. But you are living evidence of the fact that who cares? Why
Yes.
should you?
Thank you so much.
So you can follow. I'll include all the links of where you can follow Jasmine below under their little video. So where is it that you're performing on, or that you're hosting on Friday?
I'm hosting at the Wise Hall on Friday in Vancouver. It's an event called She. It's dedicated in commemoration of International Women's Day. It's going to be the entire cast of people that are going to be performing are musicians that are people of color, women, and for the most part, a lot of them are queer too. So it's going to be a really big fun event, and there's going to be like a dance party afterwards. And I can't wait to trot on stage in 6-inch heels and almost fall again.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. You
Thank
can
you.
follow me on Twitter at Shakiel Mahjouri, Instagram at Shakiel Mahjouri, Facebook at Shakiel Mahjouri, and Jasmine, give us a final word to leave on.
Beyonce's butt.
Have a great day.